Today, I am very, very excited because we have another episode of Meet My Mentor series natin. Actually, alam nyo, I always, usually, feature mga old friends ko at saka new friends sa ating mga lives every Tuesday. Pero, ang mga mentors ko, tulad ng guest natin ngayon, medyo mahirap po silang ma-invite kaya I'm so thrilled that he said yes. Sa mga nandito sa live, sa Zoom, and live sa Facebook, welcome sa ating lahat. No? Welcome din sa mga taga-team replay who will be watching this later on. Let me ask you a question. Marunong ba kayong magsulat ng marketing emails or mga newsletters? Natutunan ko lang ito when I was in my 60s na. Kaya kung kaya ko itong matutunan, kaya nyo rin. I'm so thrilled for you dahil you're gonna meet my email marketing mentor and makakausap natin siya tungkol sa pag-build ng isang business that truly supports your dreams and grows with you. Yan ang business na itinuro din niya sa akin, ang solopreneurship, where ako wala akong opisina and I have no employees. I can do my business wherever I am. Last time I was in San Juan. Today I am in Cebu. Next week I will be in Manila again. Basta I just have my gadgets and I have a strong internet connection. So, madaming nagtuturo nito actually all over the world and ang laki na ng nagastos ko sa pag-aaral from dami-daming mga teachers. But you know what I found? Ang dami kong nasayang na oras at pera bago ako mag-succeed. Kaya natuto ako dito sa ating guest. Kaya siya yung aking idol na Filipino solopreneur. Kasi yung tinuturo niya bagay sa ating mga Pinoy. So, as a mentor, I can guarantee that he always under-promises and over-delivers. He is someone who has the heart of a Filipino and he is someone who really cares and who is really rooting for your success. Kaya I'm so honored to introduce the founder of Digital Solopreneur and a master at helping coaches, consultants, and influencers like you and me build profitable and life-centered businesses. Coach Allan Ngo, welcome to the show! Yay!
Thank you, Mawin. What a wonderful introduction, and it's an honor to be here with you.
So we're so glad to have you, Coach Allan, no? Game na ba, Coach?
Yes, of course, 100%. Let's go.
First question ko. Maraming mga coaches, consultants, and influencers, dream nila na mag-build ng business na nakapagbibigay sa kanila ng freedom at saka flexibility. But what is the biggest obstacle na na-experience mo, nakita mo, na na-face nila, no? Hinaharap nila when they're trying to achieve that goal?
Right. Recently, like, folks would be asking me, no? Gusto nila mag-start? They see people online sa internet na parang, uy, gusto ko maging ganon. But when they look at what they're doing, nafe-feel nila, ay, baka kailangan ko na ng website? Baka kailangan may logo muna ako? Baka dapat sikat na ako? Dapat may brand? Dapat expert na ako before I can get started? So that's the number one thing na napapansin ko. People tend to overcomplicate stuff. The number one thing I tell them is, we all have to walk before we run. What they see online, these are people already running. In fact, they're sprinting na, Olympic levels na. So that's why there's that gap. Gusto ko maging ganyan, pero nandito ako. It's hard to run, no? Habang nakatayo ka lang, hindi ka nagpa-practice. Focus on one thing muna. One idea, may one product ka, use just one channel. Di mo naman kailangan maging present sa lahat na platforms, no? Just focus on the simplicity. I'm a basketball fan, but when you see people practice, no? Di naman nila pinapractice ang mga fancy dribbles, ang mga flashy na slam dunk. What they practice are the fundamentals. Let's start small. And one thing that always helps me, no, whenever things get complicated or na-overwhelm ako, is asking myself this question: do I really need to do this? No, it helps me center things. Like, kung may gusto kang offer, if you're a fitness coach, may isa kang option. Maybe I could create a nutritional guide, turuan ko paano kumain ang isang tao. May 10 videos, take 1 hour each. But you can ask, do I really need to do this? Meron naman akong sarili kong meal plan that got me my goals. Nandun din yung link saan ko in-order online. Maybe, just maybe, that's enough. That's a product in itself. And that's how you can find ways to simplify yung business, no?
Right. Thank you so much, Coach, no? Totoo yan, ano? Si Coach Allan earlier this year, nakita niya, dami-dami kong ginagawa. Lumapit ako sa kanya, Coach, hindi ko alam to. Paano to? So, he helped me simplify. And yung sinabi niya, ito lang mga bagay na to. And when I focused, that is when talagang nag-explode yung aking social media. So, thank you very much for that, no? Simplifying is really the key. Second question, Coach. Ito yung tinuturo mo a life-centered approach to business. What does that mean for someone who is juggling multiple roles? Yung iba nanay pa, tapos asawa pa, anak pa, tapos coach pa, consultant, influencer. What does it really mean?
Right, thank you. That's a great question. The first thing that comes to mind for me, no, it's embracing boundaries, not resisting them. I'm a big believer in like there's liberation in limitation. A quick story, no, dun sa, I'm not sure if any of you have watched yung cooking show in MasterChef. No, yung MasterChef typically may theme. Let's cook beef, let's cook fish, let's cook tofu. Do the best dish you can, then we will judge them. Then there was a time na parang, okay, no theme, just cook the best dish that you can. Na-overwhelm sila dun. Because like there's so many options, nagiging complicated. In fact, like we have to embrace boundaries. Kasi sa totoo lang, we all love tactics. All the tactics work. Whether mag-YouTube ka, mag-TikTok, mag-webinar, mag-livestream, one-on-one sale, it's not a question of gamitin ko ba to lahat. People see something that works, they try, they fail, and they blame the system. Yun yung nagiging problema. We say we want a better life, but we blindly follow what everyone else is doing. It's just like we're trying to live somebody else's life. For me, like yung life-centered is, it's important to ask questions. Who are you? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses, tendencies, experiences, failures? Because all this comprise your strength, your weaknesses. For me, for example, to make it more concrete, my strength is mainly mga text-based. Kaya sa emails ako napunta. I like teaching over Zoom. But weakness ko yung mag-film ng scripted video. Ang hirap, hindi natural. In fact, Mami N, kasama ka dito sa story ko. Back in 2017, I had my first in-person workshop. It's called Hit Send Get Paid. And Mami N was there. That is also my last in-person workshop. Because doon ko na-realize na parang my strength is not events, but it's more teaching online, writing content. For me, as I experience these things, okay, naglalagay ako ng boundaries for me. Having that limitation and knowing my boundaries, for copywriting is my strength. Hindi ako as natitempt to explore other things that may work. So it's a lot about understanding who you are, ano ba yung gusto mong mangyari sa negosyo, ano yung strengths and weaknesses mo. It goes with trying different things. If you notice, okay, I get more results here, then I'll put a barricade na, okay, I see what other people are doing, but I'm not tempted to explore those as of now. Kumbaga, I take control of anong gagawin ko and what I want to experiment. Hindi ako naghahabol sa negosyo. I have control of my own domain.
Yan. Kaya pala you're so chill. No? And I love that. Embracing boundaries. Now, it's about creating a business that really works for you depending on your strengths and your weaknesses. Especially when we are making gaya-gaya, talagang building a business can really feel overwhelming, no? Lalo na when you're doing it solo. But even if we start embracing boundaries, medyo mahirap din. So, how can our viewers simplify pa yung kanilang approach and create a business that will feel manageable and fulfilling kahit na walang empleyado? Medyo mahirap sa akin yun dahil spoiled ako na I have my team.
To give more context pa with our viewers here, the business in particular we're talking about is mainly an education-based business. So you're teaching somebody else. You're getting paid for what you know. You're monetizing your knowledge. So just like Mami, like she teaches about business, right? Others would teach about fitness. It's packaging your knowledge, creating courses, PDFs, books. So that's the context that we're working on. Now, in terms of how do we even simplify that? I love the concept of, we kind of invented this. I'm not sure if it's existing, but the minimum viable workday. Focusing on the fundamentals that move the needle. So what do I mean by that? When we start kasi yung mga gantong digital business, solopreneur business, when we think of flexibility and freedom, we think of that is something that we'll do one day. One day, ma-achieve ko yan. But at the same time, I ask myself, is that really true? Maybe we can create freedoms, mini pockets of freedoms within our existing life. Kasi that way, pag nasi-feel mo, you believe it more. So here's what it looks like. Why for me, a minimum viable day. Since I'm an email marketer, I send one email a day. One post per day on social media, 30 minutes of engagement sa mga groups where I'm in, 30 minutes of exchanging DMs sa mga new connection ko, and at least connect with 5 people, start conversations. Then after that, may mga clients ako, I serve them. That would take me 2 to 3 hours to finish that. And after that, okay, ito yung parang minimum na kailangan kong gawin sa negosyo ko para gumalaw siya. It's not gonna make me a success overnight. It's not gonna 10x my business, but it's moving it along in a pace that's consistent and manageable. So what do I do with the rest of the day? Hang out with your family. You can relax or you can work more. What we're doing here is not really about tinatamad ka mag-work or minimizing the amount of work that you do. It's about giving you that flexibility na ito yung time left, what do you want to do? Gusto mo ba mapabilis yung paglaki ng negosyo? You can work more. Gusto mo ba meet up with friends? Kasi tagal nyo na hindi nagkikita? You can do that too. But at least check na tayo dito sa minimum na gagalawing negosyo. And maybe that's something that you do at the end of the day. Maybe lakwatch ka muna, gusto mo tapusin. Just do that. But minimum viable workday. I remember my brother and I were lucky enough like to win a raffle for a pair of shoes na typically mahirap makuha. Then we were thinking, bebenta ba namin yun or suot namin? Then eventually, I decided to wear it. What I didn't realize is when I wore those pair of shoes na medyo rare, parang cool din to wear that. Oh, I'm the type of person who can wear this kind of shoes. Na parang there's a different identity na sa akin. I always stick with like the old beaters. And itong mga premium shoes is only for others. For me to wear that, medyo may nag-shift sa identity ko na I deserve this too. Okay, na-enganyo ako to work better, to work more because wala namang barrier really for me to enjoy the finer things in life. So that's why I want you to create those pockets of freedom so that you can enjoy. Kaya ko naman pala talaga eh. And that's another way of implementing boundaries in your life.
Yay. So pockets of freedom tapos minimum viable workday. Hearing you talk about the rubber shoe story versus the first rubber shoe story that you talked about a long time ago when you were still young, no? Ang laki na ng difference. So that is very inspiring. I see that many of our viewers, they already have digital products or services. How can they leverage itong mga offerings nila to create a more sustainable and scalable business?
Sure. 3 things come to mind. If you already have assets, one concept is instant offers. One thing that I teach my community is if everyone here, you'll probably see assets there that people are really willing to pay for. Say, templates, scripts, recipes, tutorials, maybe your past work, mga proposals that landed the client, or workouts that got people shredded. Those in fulfillment of your work, you create these mini assets that bring in results. That can be sellable. A small thing like that. For example, before I was thinking, okay, I'll create a workshop on content. Super broad. How about let's just teach people how to get followers by commenting on LinkedIn? That's super narrow, super specialized, but we got like 20 plus people to join us on that workshop. And some of them became clients. And that was just a compilation of screenshots I had commenting on people, teaching them how to do it. Those are just instant offers. I had a student that read my advice, kinolect niya yung mga emails niya for the e-com space and was able to make 100,000. He just sold his swipe files templates for 1,000 pesos each, sold 100 of them, 6 figures na. And that's from assets na natutulog lang sa hard drive. So that's one way you can make it more sustainable. You don't have to create. Sometimes you just have to explore. Once you have these mini offers, malapit na yung Black Friday, mga 11/11, 12/12, why not bundle all your offers together and offer it at a discounted price? And third, I think this is a thing that's missing for a lot of coaches, no, or people who already have offers, is sell to existing customers. Yung suki, kumbaga, the people who will most likely buy from you are people who already bought from you before. No? So, for example, you have a subscription, monthly siya nagsasubscribe. Maybe offer them, hey, I like to work with long-term people. So, I'll offer you 1 month free. So, just pay for 5 months, get 6 months worth of access. That's one thing. That's an easy way to get more revenue in. You can offer one-on-one calls sa mga customers nyo. You'll never know how many of them are itching to work with you privately. So, that's one. Of course, with existing customers, kapag may launch ka, give them a special rate, di ba? That way, they feel that you take care of them and they'll be with you in the long run. And that will also give you more referrals. It's expensive to get leads, expensive to get customers you advertise. So if you can create that relationship and they will be the ones to bring you customers, then that's gonna make your solopreneur business much more scalable and sustainable.
Literally, ang daming golden nuggets that if we pick them up, ako panunuurin ko to uli ang replay, I'm sure. Sa isa lang doon na gagamitin natin, as long as I apply, I will be able to make some more money. Especially pa Christmas na, no? Hindi ba kailangan nating mag-ipon-ipon? Okay? So, thank you very much for those nuggets of money-making opportunities that are just there, taken for granted. Can you share a few key strategies that work for everyone, whether they are coaches, consultants, or influencers?
I guess across different industries, one thing that resonated even for my clients and students is understanding that having a clear vision for what you want to do. And this encompasses what your offer is, who your target market is. People want to follow somebody they can believe in. No? Somebody who has a clear vision on where I will take them. Think of it na parang sasakay ka ng bus, no? Tapos may ruta. I got this experience from my friend John. Hindi ka sasakay sa isang FX or bus na walang karatula kung saan siya pupunta. And for a lot of businesses, yung karatula na yun is missing. Para kasing kolorum pag wala. So, the businesses don't have that direction. Like, saan ba ito papunta? And it's funny enough, like I have a couple of people who join my community. The first question they asked during the coaching call was, ano nga ba gagawin natin sa community na to? And I was taken aback because with our community, like we help you build your digital product business. But I was wondering, and there were 2 of them who had that question. And it made me realize that they joined joined because they shared the vision that I had for them. It's almost like the mechanism. Kung ano yung actual na gagawin namin to reach that goal was secondary, and I was quite surprised with that. With everyone becoming creators, it's hard to stand out, to connect with people. That's why one of the things that I promote, having a signature newsletter. The idea behind that is people want to follow somebody, not just for the content, but they want to feel that there's a soul behind it.
Yes.
They could really connect with. So it doesn't have to be sappy, it doesn't have to be melodramatic. You have to have a clear vision on where you want to go. It's something that you can stand on. So some of my content will be talking about like why I don't extend deadlines, or sometimes why I refuse to take money, which is kind of the same side. It's because these are my principles. Recently, I showed a split screen photo. On the left-hand side, I was handling a mastermind on a Sunday. Then on a Monday, I was bringing lunch to my daughter. So it's like embracing both sides of being an entrepreneur. And I wasn't teaching content then. It was about the principle that I want. I think adding that layer adds depth to your content, combining your content, the teaching, the value, as well as your vision. That's where people can make that connection. It's why I also call my community like the effortless earners, because it's an identity that I want to communicate. So it's not just about teaching you digital products, but a specific way of doing it. And if we have that, of course, people who want to build the next big app, the next big mall, they will not resonate with me. They will ignore me because we don't have the same path. And that's okay. Again, that's where boundaries will take place. People who will jive with me are people who want that simplicity of business. Maybe we will never be tycoons, right? But we will love life. Sometimes that soul, that's the thing that's missing. And if we can be clear on that, we will also enjoy our business more. When I came up with the name Effortless Earners, I myself was invigorated. Parang may extra jolt, the identity that I want. That's the identity that I teach. I think that cuts across all industries, especially if you're in the education business.
Totoo yun, no? Effortless Earners is really parang very clear yung vision. Vision and values. Even in my coaching with my clients, those are the things that we always start with. Saan ka ba papunta? Saan mo ba gustong pumunta? At ano ba yung mga values mo? So once that's clear, everything else will fall into place. What are some of the common misconceptions naman ng mga tao about building a business that is scalable, na solopreneurship?
Whenever I presented this question, I go back to my response on the first one. Do you even need to scale? With a scaling question. Right? Because sometimes scaling per se is not wrong, but sometimes they have an idea of what scaling looks like. Do you even need to scale? What is that just something that you hear from people? Is that just something that sounds cool? Does that make you part of the in crowd? Kind of understanding what it is that you really want. Of course, if so, define what scale is for yourself. What do you ultimately want with that money? If you want to earn, say, 6 figures every month, compute how many customers do you need? How many clients do you need to get there? And you'll be surprised. For example, my client, 100K in sales, it was 100 customers, 1,000 peso product. If you sold it at 2,000, you only need 50 people. It's lesser and lesser. If you sold it 5,000, just need 20 people. And he can optimize for that. And that's when you have boundaries as well. Okay, I only need 20 people. I think kaya ko na to sa Facebook audience ko. Hindi ko na kailangan to be present everywhere. I don't need to dance on TikTok. Define what is scaling for you. What is your goal? And you will realize, hindi ka pala kailangan gumawa ng ganun karami. Right? Just focus on one platform, one offer, and one audience. Because when you have that number, it feels more real. The same way that you have pockets of freedom feels more real. If you have a number of customers you need, it feels real and reachable. That's when how you can optimize your life and business around that number. One client that I had, when she reached her target number of clients, she stopped her launch. She didn't want to maximize it because she knows her target number. Once she hit that, okay, let's stop the launch, serve them, and I'll relax. So that's the power of that's not scaling to the max, but that's scaling enough to live the life that you want.
I love that, Coach. Ano ba talaga ang definition ng scale para sa iyo? Kung pera lang, we work back from the money target that we have. Baka hindi naman kailangan talagang isang team of 100 people. Baka pwedeng ikaw lang. That's something that I will explore, I'm sure. So, let's go to the next one. Can you share with us a story about one of your clients na naging successful sila sa pag-build ng business na lumaki as they grew? So, we're not saying scale super big, pero lumalaki rin as lumalaki sila.
I'll just use her initial. So it's E, letter E. So they're into teaching, helping people with launching podcasts as a career. One of the things they had an issue with is hiring people to run ads for them, to make so much noise on social media so people would register to their webinar and as part of their launch. They had high overhead as well. Managing people is a different skill than working on your business. So they had that problem. And of course, with any launch, syempre you have to pay your people. So they had less take-home pay. And they kind of grew tired of that cycle. I helped them out with like simplifying the process. So I call it like the profitable from day one na model. We simplified the offer kasi parang ang dami nilang pinapromise. And it's kind of confusing. Ano ba yung makukuha ko pag nag-enroll ako? If I'm not mistaken, we offered less. Kasi minsan akala natin, if we offer so much, may mga taong akala nila yung value, it's given by the kilo. Actually, some of the best value is if I can just give you enough for you to get the result, that's better. So you get the result faster. And they didn't run ads. They just built anticipation in their Facebook group and their own private email lists. So we call it the quiet launch. Kasi hindi sila nag-ingay-ingay na, magla-launch kami. They just talk to people that know them. Yung mga leads na na-build na nila and built an anticipation there. And they were able to hit 225K in sales, not just top-line revenue. Siyempre, mas konti pa yung overhead nila. So, split sila ng partner niya. It's a happier experience. And enrollees na nakuha nila, they like the character. There's somebody who really takes action. And that also comes from yung pag-share nila ng value nila, pag-share nila ng vision nila, na-attract nila yung dream client nila. So yeah, I'm really happy for how they did that.
Wow. That's so motivating, Coach. I hope you're picking up a lot of golden nuggets here. Ako, eto na-experience ko rin ito. I'm sure the others are also experiencing overwhelm. No, sometimes at a certain point, parang pabalik-balik yung ginagawa ko. Paulit-ulit, I feel so overwhelmed. I feel so stuck. So for people who are there, what is one piece of advice that you could give them to start building more sustainable and more life-centered business?
So I like things framed as a question because I don't know all your situations. So questions I feel are one of the best ways to unlock that knowledge that you already know. In terms of that, pag na-overwhelm, I try to ask myself, especially on Sundays, pag i-review ko yung week ko, I ask myself, the question is, what's a permanent solution for this? Para hindi ko na siya ma-encounter ulit. So what's a permanent solution to this? Kasi sometimes masanay tayo na mano-mano gagawin. So it's like band-aid solution. So it's not really a cure. Like we're just treating the symptom. Like how can we find a cure so that it never happens again? So part of it, ano ba example? So meron mga madaming questions na paulit-ulit tinatanong. Meron na akong like DM scripts or scripts that I will use. Okay, copy-paste na lang. So it takes me like 5 minutes to compose. Ngayon, 5 seconds na lang. It doesn't feel as much as of a grind anymore. And in fact, since copy-paste na lang siya, I could even delegate that to somebody to respond. Right now, I'm even experimenting with creating GPT or projects sa AI na pwedeng make the flow to write emails faster, to write sales letter faster, a little bit more advanced. But that comes from asking, what's a permanent solution? So that way, pag masagot ko na siya, hindi ko na siya makikita ulit. I'm encountered with new activities, new projects that excites you again. Sometimes kasi hustle and grind, it comes from monotony and doing the same thing. But if you start doing new things, bago ulit to, exciting ulit. When we earn money, hindi yung kita natin lahat sa bulsa na natin. Balik na sa negosyo, para the next time we launch, mas magaan na. It's a mental thing. Like for me, I have a charity account. If some friends and family need help, personal or something that I allotted for a loved one, having that budget helps make it easy. I invest in like Grab rather than ako yung magmamaneho. Kasi iba yung pagod ng maneho as opposed to upo ako doon. Pagdating ko sa lugar, hindi ako stressed. I can be present sa meetup. Pag uwi ko, I can still work. I invested money to save me time and energy. That's another side to it, no, sa hustle and grind that may not be always na nababanggit.
Ang tindi ng wisdom. Yung iba kasi, they just look at it, okay, I'll just do this, I'll just sell this, pero one time. But the way you're looking at it is really solopreneurship and it's really business. I would stop my questions here because I'd like to go through what is in the chat. Edeline Fajardo Nova says, dami nang napapanood ko sa mga tips on how to make business. Ano ba talaga ang dapat na initial na gawin?
Ang unang tanong dyan, like, ano ba pwede kong ituro? Ano ba pwede kong ibenta? Why will people pay me to teach them? Yeah. So one of the things that I would look at is where the money is. So what are you being paid to do? Kasi if people are paying you to do something, that means that task is valuable. Second is, what problem have you solved for yourself? I had trouble making money sa stock market. Kasi tip dito, tip that ng mga office mates. Minsan tama, minsan palpak. So that's when I joined a group by Brother Bo Sanchez on helping you invest in the stock market. I joined that program for a year. It was the first time in my life na may consistent akong return sa stock market. So I was able to sell my own problem, and it's just so happened yung program na yon offer affiliate marketing. Meaning, every time may i-refer nag-offer ako to join the group, may commission ako doon. So that is something that you can offer. Kasi, nasolve ko yung problem ko. I can help others solve that problem. Ito, hindi ko sariling product, but I earn something when I sell. Now, lastly, talagang wala kang na-solve the problem para sa'yo, wala kang skill that you're getting paid for. You can create one. You can enroll. There's plenty of places online where you can learn a skill. Dedicate like 1 month learning a new skill. Find people who would need that, offer it for free, get them results, they make testimonial ka. You now have proof that your system works. You can go ahead and get either paying clients or maybe start teaching that.
From Richel Marie Peña Florida Garcia. Sabi niya, ano kaya ang best marketing strategy na makahatak ng customer?
That's fairly broad, but demonstration is always one of the best ones. All else fails, like demonstration is one of the powerful ones to attract audience.
So demonstration is one of the best marketing strategies. Si Marie Chris Pan is asking what marketing strategy daw sa laundry business. 2 weeks pa lang ang shop niya at medyo marami na daw siyang competitors. So sa competitors, what can you say, Coach?
Since this is more physical business, siguro something nasa digital that I think can be applied here is may mga products na binebenta to make money, may mga products na binebenta to get customers. And those are two different things. No, kasi when we think of benta, we think of profit, revenue. But there's also that yung benta is to change the relationship from a lead to a customer or to a buyer. Kasi kapag naging buyer na ang isang tao, whether piso lang bigay niya sa'yo, 10 piso, nagbabago na yung relationship ninyo. And pag nagbigay sa'yo ng pera, mas malaking chance umulit sila sa inyo. With that principle, just to get people to become customers. And once you get them customers, as an email marketer, I would highly suggest that you get their data. Either they leave their number, name, next time pumunta sila, may discount sila. Because ultimately, yung relationship ninyo, may way kayo to remarket to them.
Thank you for that. No, that's also my experience. And I think that also answers the question of Cecily here who's asking, okay ba na mababa ang price basta maraming customers, no? Yung kung minsan kala natin pag binaba natin yung price, dadami yung customers. Baka hindi, no? Kasi we tried that as well. Pero bakit mo binababa yung price? Sabi ni Coach Allan, kung kukunin mo yung data nila, parang pang-attract, then maybe that is a marketing strategy that will work. Action figures, hobby collectibles. Ito yata yung kaninang nagtanong ng negosyo na niche, si Dan Fresco.
Right.
Can you say about this, Coach?
With anything niche, no? Like I guess we can go back to what we talked about in universal advice. So with Kidan action figures, I actually follow somebody on YouTube as well who's into retro video games. I think marami din kasing competition sa ganyan, and also one thing that would help you stand out is like having that vision, di ba? One thing that I'd like to ask, no? Like for you, Kidan, action figures, hobby collectibles. Sometimes ang mahirap dito is some would price it super expensive, so it's not accessible. Some would be reasonably priced, but perhaps hindi ka mahanap. Ultimately, perhaps what you can, in terms of the vision-wise, more than the tactics, maybe what vision you may have is you want to make collectibles accessible to the most passionate collectors. Kapag ano ba yung problem sa market ninyo? And ask the question, why is this unfair? Gusto ko makuha yung Dragon Ball Z na Goku na figurine na na-miss out ko nung 8 years old ako. And now like I'm 48 and I want to get that. Why is that unfair na hindi yung makuha yun? Maybe yung sagot mo doon can create that vision for you.
So parang pwede rin yung coach merong solopreneur component, ano? If you become an expert ito sa niche business ni Dan and you talk about it, because so many people don't know about it, like people from my generation. Ano ba tong mga kalokohan na toys? Hundreds of thousands of pesos, isang toy lang. If we were educated, di ba? We would also appreciate what it is about.
So that's also something that you might want to explore.
Si Chris Joyce naman is customized printing products. How to gain more customers. So for all of these, coach, na nag-struggle sila to gain more customers, what would be your advice?
Regardless of any business, you have to be in front of people that need your offer. So one of the high leverage things that you can do is join networking events, maybe this entrepreneurial events, every entrepreneurial groups. Especially sa Pilipinas, no, people trust referrals much more than a search, no, or an ad. And not just any people, no, it has to be the right people. List out 100 names, either groups, podcasts, communities, business organizations that you think your target market is in. Attend business expos. You never know who people know.
Yes,
So at this stage, it's really about getting in front of the right people.
kailangan mag-join tayo ng mga organizations to get to know the right people. Yesterday, I was just talking to one of my coaching clients who is based in Eastern Samar. When we talked about getting more clients, sabi ko, are you a member of this club and that club? Hindi po. Sabi ko, that's how you will get contacts so that they will order from you. Napaka-importante ng network. Coach, how can our viewers learn more about your simple approach? Napaka-simple po ng approach ni Coach. Instead of asking you to do so many things, he will ask you to remove so many things. So how can they learn from you so that they can build a thriving business, and how can they connect with you for further support?
For me, you can just go to digitalsolopreneur.com/mommyn. Dito siya. The URL. I have like more than 10 years of experience basically selling air, digital products, no? Hindi siya yung kakataping Lazada or Shopee. When you buy, you get information, you get knowledge. And that's where my main experience is. And my best insights and the mistakes you have to avoid, sinishare ko sa newsletter ko. So that's free. You can sign up there. And also, if you know, once you sign up, nabanggit ko yung system namin of Profitable from day one. May system kami where you get paid before you even create your digital product. I'm also on LinkedIn if you want to get connected. I'm just Allan Mo on LinkedIn. I'd be happy to get to know you better there.
So, Coach Allan, thank you for sharing your expertise with us today, and thank you for this very special deal. And thank you also sa lahat ng nag-join sa atin. No? Don't forget to check it out, yung mga resources ni Coach. Napakabait po niyan, promise. Meron po kayong last words, Coach Allan?
I prepared something for everyone, regardless kung nandito ka sa space ko, digital product, traditional pizza, food, laundry. I found this message very helpful for me, especially in times of doubt. So there's this young boy who came to his grandfather filled with anger at another boy who had done him an injustice. The old grandfather said to his grandson, "Let me tell you a story. I too at times have felt a great hate for those who have taken so much, with no sorrow for what they do. But hate wears you down. Hate does not hurt your enemy. Hate is like taking poison and wishing your enemy would die. I have struggled with these feelings many times. It is as if there are two wolves inside me. One wolf is good and does no harm. He lives in harmony with all around him and does not take offense when no offense was intended. He will only fight when it's right to do so and in the right way. But the other wolf is full of anger. The little things will set him off into a fit of temper. He fights everyone all the time for no reason. He cannot think because his anger and hate are so great. It is helpless anger because his anger will change nothing. Sometimes it is hard to live with these two wolves inside me because both wolves try to dominate my spirit." The boy looked intently into his grandfather's eyes and asked, "Which wolf will win, grandfather?" The grandfather smiled and said, "The one I feed." Now, for us, we have these two wolves within us, negativity, and there's optimism and hope. And those two are fighting within us right now. And what we choose to feed is what we will grow, what will dominate our life. For following Mommy N, I think you are feeding the good wolf. I do encourage you to sign up to Mommy N Starter Kit. What she will send you will keep feeding the good wolf inside you, and hopefully, my only wish is all of us to succeed.
Thank you so much. Thank you so very much. Yan. Kaya ngayon, alam kong naintindihan nyo na kung bakit si Coach Allan is one of the best mentors that I have. One of my favorite mentors. Yan. And I'm so happy that he said yes to being our guest for today. Thank you again, everyone. Bye for now.